Hello, nerd friends. How is everyone doing today? It is Monday and it is the 5th of July 2024 and it is 9 in the night. It is 9:01 actually. Hello, welcome to the Political Therapy Show. That's what we are officially calling this now, I guess. And today we are going to talk about a lot of things actually. I've been trying to get this guest on for a while. He's been traveling, etc., etc. But now finally he's here. We are going to talk to Aakar Patel today. But before that, some announcements. First announcement, guys. Our campaign is going well. Priyanka Gandhi has tweeted about the broadcasting bill, so we are clearly making some noise now. It is getting some escalation, so we are doing well. Well done, Nerd Army, who has been helping out with this and posting shit about broadcasting bill. Thank you so much for that, and it is all because of you that this is happening. Guys, I met two politicians yesterday with Dr. Medusa. One is Mr. Sanjay Singh, the second is Priyanka Chaturvedi. Before that, I met some people from the Congress. We met them and we briefed them on the bill. Then we have some other meetings lined up with more MPs. And the biggest one of them all is Rahul Gandhi. So his office has sort of assured us till now that he is going to meet us this week. So I will be telling you about that and keep you updated about that. So looks like people are getting interested about it. So let's hope for the best. Let's hope Ashwini Vaishnav shows us the actual bill, and we don't let it go to parliament. That's the objective, isn't it? At least in this state. I mean, Ashwini Vaishnav bill dikhao. The other thing is, friends, I wanted some help from you again because I have nobody else to go to. But yeah, I needed some help from you. So the thing is, I'm taking Dr. Medusa along for all these meetings, right? Because we thought that, like some people should go together. It will also convince them better, all the things. So Dr. Medusa has spent money to fly down to Delhi on Saturday and fly out of Delhi because she has an actual job, unlike me. So she's going to fly down again if there are any meetings, and she's going to do a lot of up and down from Delhi for now because she has to keep her job but also do Desh Ka Kaam. So I have promised to basically pay for her tickets. Promised in the sense, DKD se jo bhi paisa aaya hai, usse to I will compensate her for the tickets only. But other than that, I feel like we are running a little short. So if you want to contribute for Medusa's tickets, please do. There is a link niche, buy me a coffee. If you can, please do buy us a coffee this time. buymeacoffees.com/megnerd. And then Medusa can be a little bit stress-free, I guess. So yeah, if you can, and also if you want to support our work, please go right ahead. Would be really appreciated, friends. Would be really appreciated. Yeah. So now, without further ado, let me bring our guest on the scran. Hello, Aakar. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, Vignan?
I am
and hello
also
to everybody
great.
on the show.
Yeah. And Aakar, for those people who don't know you, please can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm a columnist and have been for a couple of decades. I'm the chair of Amnesty International in India, which is a human rights body. I've been a newspaper editor for about 25 years before that. General busybody. I'm from Surat. I'm on Twitter at Aakar __Patel.
Yes. If you don't follow Aakar Patel on Twitter, what are you even doing in life? Please do follow him. He's also an author. And guys, if you have seen my Modi review, it was this was the inspiration for it, and Aakar Patel wrote it. And I've been trying to get you since then on my live stream. But thank you so much for coming. I've been looking forward to this.
My absolute pleasure.
And Aakar has also wrote another fascinating book which is very relevant right now, or today actually, the Anarchist Cookbook, which is all about activism and how to basically do it. honestly, like I've been using some of the tips you gave in the current campaign that we are doing also, and I remember talking to you back then as well. But let's start with Bangladesh actually, Akar, because so much is happening. What is your sense of what is going on?
It won't be good. It won't be good for its neighbors. I hope it's good for Bangladesh in the end. But ultimately, the problem is that a well-meaning democratic person slid into this autocratic space where she denied the opposition any room.
Yeah.
If we think that people like Kejriwal and Sisodia should not be jailed, that's exactly what happened in Bangladesh. That she was running, Sheikh Hasina was running elections with her primary opponents in jail, and it produced a democracy over a long period of time, a decade and a half, that at some point people just got tired of. Your and I think that the one lesson we should draw from this is that beyond a point, to stifle the opposition, to jail them on the assumption that they are evil and you are the only person who knows how to do well, will not end in your favor. And this is true of any part of the world, but particularly so of our part of the world.
Right. And guys, just to give you a TLDR of what has been going on, and Akar, please correct me if I'm wrong. So TLDR being that Sheikh Hasina is facing the ire of students because students were protesting against a reservation which they have for freedom fighters and their descendants. And I'm talking about the 1971 Bangladesh war. There are some freedom fighters whose grandchildren have gotten a reservation, and it's a giant 30% reservation. So basically, it was first struck down, but the government tried to end it. The High Court revived it, and then protests started. But why it became so big is because Sheikh Hasina kind of handled the protests very badly. She went all fascist on them. Lots of violence was unleashed. And as far as I know, till now, there have been 300 deaths in Bangladesh, where there was like an intense crackdown on the students. And then, of course, it went beyond the students as a result. And it became like a mass movement. Till a point where Sheikh Hasina today reportedly ran away. She resigned and immediately got into a helicopter, went into a plane. Plane came to Delhi. As far as I know, till now she's in Delhi, but she's flying to London, is what the latest reports are. Akar, what happened to Bangladesh though? Like, because initially, like for until a few years ago, it was this whole, oh, Bangladesh is doing better than India GDP wise, and labor laws and all the things are improving. Human Development Index is also going up. What happened there?
It is. I don't think that we should mix the two. So just like Lanka had its problems economically a couple of years ago, the fact remains that the average Lankan is better off than the average Indian. That the human development indicators are better in Lanka. Political stability at that point was an issue, just like it is in Bangladesh right now. But broadly speaking, I think that you've got this idea of very large nations. Bangladesh has 130, 140 million people, slightly less than UP. We've got 10 times as many. How do you transition half of that population, which is very poor and surviving on agriculture at 6,000-7,000 rupees a month, into a modern economy? And there are not enough jobs for that to happen. Bangladesh's success was relative to India's success. It's like two Langda people running a race and then one of them winning, and then, we think that the other person is lost.
Yeah.
To the rest of the world, countries that are at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per capita GDP, Bangladesh's success doesn't look like success at all. For us, it does, because they offered a model. They got women into garments manufacture who were able to produce exports that are higher than India's in garments, which is a fact. We could say that we've got Infosys in Bangalore, but the fact is that Bangladesh's garments and textile exports are higher than India's.
Yep.
The problem is that the population is too big, and you can't have the level of jobs that you need to support a population that size. At some point, we will also have the same problem.
Right. Aren't we already having the same problem though?
We have the same problem. I think we have more outlets than them. Sheikh Hasina not only kept her Sisodia in jail and her Kejriwal in jail, she kept her Rahul Gandhi in jail and her Mayawati in jail and her DMK in jail and her TMC in jail and everybody in jail.
Yeah.
There was no outlet.
Yeah.
In India, we are an incomplete autocracy. We are an incompetent tyranny. That we've got spaces available, whether in media, whether in the justice system, whether in the opposition, whether in civil society, to be able to vent. And I think that a pressure cooker ki CT is very important. That when you have oppression which is top down, you require spaces in which you can vent.
Yeah.
And I think those spaces had closed in Bangladesh.
Oh, and therefore, I mean, pressure go phat gaya type situation ho gaya wahan pe.
You take to the streets when there is no option.
Right.
When you pass laws on issues that concern farmers during COVID without consulting the farmers, shunt them through parliament as ordinances, the only option for the farmer then is to come to the street.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you consult them, yeah, I mean that's sort of more or less the story here as well.
But then, like, so tell me about these spaces which you mentioned, right? So, like you said, we are a incomplete autocracy. But also, is there a element of just our bureaucracy is very lazy, no? I genuinely think that, even if we want like a authoritarian dictatorial regime at some point, we would not be able to do it because that requires certain amount of discipline and like just getting with the program sort of a thing. But all the bureaucrats that I sort of encounter or meet or just talk to in general, or people in general, we are that argumentative Indian stereotype, right? Do you think it's actually even possible?
So you've got really bright people in the IAS, a few hundred people who come out every year, and who have to deal with, say, 200 subjects. If you're a district magistrate or you are a collector, you're dealing with a minor sort of episode of violence, you're dealing with taxation. There is a point beyond which your mind is not going to be able to accommodate all of that material. There is this concept by this professor in Harvard who described India as a flailing state. Flailing with an L after
Right.
F.
Right.
And his description of that was that you've got these super smart people who've scored whatever 700 in NEET or whatever the top score is 720. And then they run these things and they have these PowerPoint presentations about how it's going to be executed downstream. And none of that really happens. Because in the middle of that process, that saab bathroom mein saab ko aaj बीमारी हुई है, सांप का कुत्ता मर गया, all of that will happen and then nothing else will get executed. So I think that while we should accept that we produce some of the smartest people on earth, working together as a football team is more difficult for us. We are
Exactly.
good at we are good at sports that are episodic, like cricket or like wrestling, where ek ball fek diya or whatever. Football and that sort of thing is not that easy for us.
Right. And that sort of applies to everything then.
It does. I'm saying that harmony is a very important thing. If you look at the symphony orchestra of this country, most of it is from Kazakhstan, but the parts of it that are Desi are mostly Goan Catholic because the sense of harmony, of congregational worship, and that sort of thing is there in them.
Yeah.
90% of the audience is Parsi.
Right. Right. Here. So I'm going to read out chat also, beech mein. There were some questions to begin with. One was, of course, about Bangladesh, if you can talk about it. But the other was heavy question. Hito is asking a heavy question to you. Does Aakar think investigative authorities to be efficient, like CBI or ED, because there is no time-bound solving? And why is the bureaucracy unempathetic?
Let me give you some data. Okay, we were raided by the CBI, by we I mean Amnesty, in November 2019. No charge sheet yet.
No charge sheet yet?
No charge sheet yet.
Okay.
The accounts were first frozen by the ED in 2018, still frozen.
Wow.
The idea that there is any element of competence in the state structure, particularly post 2014, will be met with data that shows that this is not the case. It's bogus. and I can give personal examples for it. I don't think that we have it. The problem is that when you and I, Meghnad, and the people listening into it will say, okay, can we extend this to, say, the intelligence services? And my answer to that will probably be yes. That the same levels of competence are to be found in those who are managing Manipur, Kashmir, Bangladesh, as are to be found in managing those who are considered anti-nationals inside. And that level of competence is pretty low.
I mean, I was just reading the broadcasting bill. I mean, you saw like we've been doing this campaign on the broadcasting bill. Aakar, I can't tell you how much I've laughed reading that bill. It's insane. Like, I mean, after you sort of get over the fact of what they're trying to do, and then you sort of try to realize, you start to realize how impossible it is for them to do it. Everything just became extremely funny. Like the entire bill is just extremely badly drafted and is very funny. I often wonder who does this, who drafts this, and what is the thinking behind it.
So I think that, to be fair to the BJP, some of it might have been drafted before the 4th of June, where they would have felt that they would have been able to push it through without it, because the previous draft was from last year,
Yeah,
from late
November.
last year,
Yeah.
where, as you pointed out in your very good explainer video, it did not have requirements such as for the person being a
Citizen of
citizen
India.
of India,
Yeah.
for them to be targeted. They've done this before. The FCRA amendment in 2020 was meant, one of the amendments was individual specific. So it was aimed at this woman called Indira Jaising, and they reworded the amendment and the law to target her. And I think, as you have alluded to in your video, this second draft one part of it seems to be aimed at Dhruv Rathi.
Yeah.
That you don't want his material and you can target him without him being a citizen of India. I'm not sure whether he is not, but the assumption is that he's not. And I think that through this law, they'll be able to go after his content. It will fail. This law is not going anywhere. But I think that it's very hard for me as the king and the ruler to be able to accept that June the 4th is a shift in the way that the country sees me. And I think this law is one very specific example of that.
But so, like, did you have a chance to read the bill, like, or go through it? Yeah. What did you think of it overall? Like, I mean, just generally, what were your feelings about it?
I think it's somebody assuming that the problem is external content creators, that a large part of the media has been managed, and so the part that remains to be managed, the Meghnads and the Medusas and the Ravishes and the Dhruv Rathis, need to be harnessed in some way. And the way to do that is through this bill. And the best way of doing that, given the fact that they are not related to any corporate entity, that they are independent, that they are paid out of viewerships that accumulate through third-party resources, whether they are YouTube or Facebook or Twitter and so on, is to make sure that they are in some way brought into the net.
Right.
And then the only way that can be done, given the fact that they are not incorporated, Meghnad is not incorporated, Medusa is not incorporated, Ravish is not incorporated, is to bring in individuals. And now this is the problem with all laws that are well-meaning, not well-meaning in the general sense, but well-meaning in the sense that there would have been some debate in the cabinet, maybe not the cabinet, but the PMO, saying that ye thoda bahut zyada broad ho chuka hai. And the person who would have drafted it would have said, no, we'll only target those people who we don't like.
Right.
The problem is that never happens.
Right.
Once it goes out into the world, misuse is more likely to happen than use in the right instance. And that's the case with all badly drafted laws, which this is definitely one of.
And in a way, like, so this selective application that you speak of, no, see, that is another funny part where they have made like laws in such a way that if you cross a certain threshold of views, you will have to register as a broadcaster, which means that they're sort of penalizing virality in a very strange way, which is like if anybody goes viral and is uncomfortable, the government will just say, hey, you're now a broadcaster. and now you must register, have a grievance redressal officer, and we will act against you. How do you do that? Who thinks of these things is my question.
No, they are trying their best to narrow it down. Aakar Patel with his 20 retweets or whatever shouldn't be targeted, but Meghnad with his reach on YouTube should be targeted. So
Yeah.
how do you bridge that difference? And I think that some people who passed out in 2005 and 6 would have sat down and said, okay, what is the viewership count of Ravish and that lot, and then let's see, and then maybe we can introduce some system where we can separate general public from these people who we think of as being influencers and be able to better target them. It won't work.
But we already have laws to do that, right? I mean, if they want to, they can also use like current existing laws.
There is no shortage of laws that they can use to target any
Exactly.
producer of content. Yeah, there is no shortage. But my danger is, my fear is that I think that I would have got to 400 seats except for these bastards. And how do I make sure that I go after them in targeted fashion? And the way that I would see it is that the laws that I had in my possession at that point in time did not work. So I need something new. I'm going to throw at them something new.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so it's basically a vindictive mentality behind this. Is the TLDR
or a defensive one?
Defensive one. Correct. So Vimo has a very good point, which he's also making here, which is, do you think the law was designed when they were confident of 400 par, and now given their 240 status, is it going to be difficult to implement?
There are arguments on both sides. If you had 400, you wouldn't need this law.
Yeah.
You need this law because you think that there are voices that are independent that must be suppressed.
Right.
And they must be suppressed because at 240 you don't have the instrumentality over the narrative that you did at 300. Forget 400. And so that's one reason why. So there are very good arguments on both sides to be made.
But so this 240 which happened, how do you feel about that exactly? Because I'll tell you my feelings, because I was live streaming for like some 45 hours straight, and like इतना gaslight किया basically, like the amount of 400 पार होने वाला है, the exit polls and everything. It was like they were trying to break all people who thought that Modi is going anywhere, or Modi is going to be defeated or even lose any modicum of power. And then suddenly on 4th, it just changes. Something just weirdly changes in the atmosphere in general. People just seem more happier somehow. It's just, I don't know if it's like just psychological, if it's just me, but do you also feel that?
No, I was absolutely delighted. That was probably the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely no problem with Modi remaining Prime Minister. No problem with the ministers for Home and Foreign, Defense, Finance, Doval, all of that Vaishnav remaining in their jobs. I have absolutely no problem with that. My joy and my ecstasy comes out of the fact that the power that was assumed to have been bestowed on this individual has been curbed.
Right.
And that's a good thing. I think democracies ought not to be about messianic figures who have this idea that what came before them was all wrong and they are the solution. And what will come from here on till 2047 or for 1,000 years from now will be right. I think that's just damaging. Particularly, I think there are many nation states that have this. We are very large. I think the problem with damaging India in this way through messianic fashion is that you're damaging a fifth or sixth of humanity.
Yeah.
And so it was important that this element of messianism be curbed, and I think it was stopped very comprehensively. I was absolutely delighted, and I hope that Modi remains for the next 5 years in office, having to face not only Chandra Babu and Nitish Babu and the other media, but also the independent content creators who I think will make his life a lot more difficult, which is why he's going after them.
Yeah. And also one more thing which I sort of realized after this happened was that it's so strange about how narratives are built, right? And how quickly they collapse, which is it's just it's like constant decade or almost a decade of escalation in the narrative till a point where you are basically declaring this man as some ungodly figure who is non-biological and etc. It's gone to that level where not only is he, like strong leader, strong orator, all the things, now he's just a god. Basically, nobody can touch this person and nobody should even try. And in the media, honestly, during that time, especially after the Ram Mandir and the way they did it, it was almost like these people are declaring him as some sort of messianic figure, as you put it, right? It just took like one result to just break out of it. How does that happen? Like, again, so was it all made up? Was it all like just like this big bubble that just, all it took is just one day to burst?
No, so let's assume that the first real job you get, the first job that pays you a salary, where you're responsible for other people, where you've got a management team, where you've got Monday mornings, is when you're 50 years old. And for 22 years after that, till you're 72 or 74 in this instance, you only ever experience compliance, not only from your team, but also from customers. Customers are telling you you're the greatest thing on earth. We will prefer your product over the competition. We don't want the competition. We are going to give you more than 50% of the market share. And you have that for 22 years, 23 years. And that's your first job. That's your only job. You've never done a job before that.
Right.
And at the age of 73 or 74, I think he'll be this year,
Yeah.
you discover that for the first time in your life, customers are saying, ये नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, वो दूसरा माल भी चाहिए मेरे को, थोड़ा जास्ती चाहिए तेरे से. तुम्हारा माल ठीक है, अच्छा है, लेकिन वो दूसरा वाला थोड़ा ज्यादा चाहिए मेरे को. And I think that will destroy, I'm telling you, nothing on earth will prepare any of us for what the mirror has in store for Modi when he faces it every morning.
Right.
For 22 years, this person, in the only job he's ever held, has been told both by customers, by management, by downstream managers, that you're the best thing that has ever happened to this company.
Right.
That you individually are responsible for its success.
Right.
And on one Monday or Tuesday or whatever that day was, the 4th of June, may that day live long in history. the customer says, "वो थोड़ा ठीक है, लेकिन वो थोड़ा कुछ और चाहिए मेरे को." And I think that will shatter you, and I think it has shattered him. I think that his chamchas haven't realized it yet, or maybe they have. You should follow his chamchas on Twitter.
Yeah.
They are the ones who've lost confidence.
That's true. They have, especially after the budget, we saw so many of them just like माँ बहन की गाली मार रहे हैं अब उसको सीधा. Like I was like, okay, that also changed very quickly. But
No, and it's not just that. A lot of it will fall away. Sorry to interrupt. Including on the ideological agenda. I'm very happy that they're taking on things like this bill. I want this bill to go as far as it can.
Okay.
Because I think that this bill is one of the places where we will see the limits of power.
Okay. So you want it to go far because it will fail. And you want people to see how spectacularly it fails.
I want him to push it through the Lok Sabha in the face of opposition, not only from the other side. Why should the opposition want voices that are independent to be throttled? They will not want them to
They
be
will
throttled.
not, yeah.
Why should me, as Chandrababu or Nitish or the other chamchas that are part of that coalition, who have no stake in this bill, we don't care about this bill, but we want something else. Why should we let go of this opportunity to not put pressure, saying, why are you passing this bill? We will put pressure as well. And let him get it through the Lok Sabha, let him get it through the Rajya Sabha, let him get it through the Supreme Court, through the various high courts, let him get it implemented, let him get Ravish banned. I want all of that to happen because that will, when you come into power, you come in with a stock of goodwill and then you start spending. You start spending it on demonetization, you start spending it on lockdown, you start spending it on other things where people say, why did he do that? Why did he do that? Bits of people start dropping off.
Right.
Bhaktgan is not one monolithic frame.
Right.
There is a large block of which bits will fall off in time.
Right.
And I want him to get into these struggles where there is nothing to be gained. There is absolutely no way that you can throttle in the year 2024 independent voices of the strength of Medusa or Ravish or Meghnad because you are trying to ban them in one. You can't, because they are talented enough to be able to express themselves in another way.
Yeah. Like
I'm
that.
not saying that this bill by itself, if successful, will not be effective in throttling the voices. It will be. My point is that if it does so, the pressure will be in the cooker so much that the valve will have to explode,
Right.
which he doesn't recognize.
Right.
And I want him to go down this road, particularly under a minister who has no authority or no public persona of his own. He's a creature of the prime minister. He will
Ashwini
do what is
Vaishnav, yes.
that. Yeah, he can't win his own seat. Who is he?
Yeah, yeah.
He's somebody who's been targeted by Pegasus himself, a third-rate fellow. I'm saying
That's
for
also
that
true.
this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah. He had Pegasus on his phone, yes.
Yeah. If and when he has the time to handle the derailments of his sort of other ministry, he can concentrate on the derailment of this law.
Yeah. Ashwini Vaishnav, funnily enough, broke character. If you saw Aakar recently, so he has this image of being
I
like
did.
this suave operator, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like someone said,
Guju man being angry, that's like a weird thing, yeah.
someone was like, "अरे real minister," and he's like, "ये मुझे
Yeah.
मैं बस real नहीं
They
बनाता,
really
मैं
got
मेहनत
him with
करता."
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone told me that the weird thing is that he was called out for being real minister. He's like, नहीं हम मेहनत भी करते हैं, and then they put it out as a reel on from his handle. It's like bhai matlab seriously.
He's a dumbass, yeah. Yeah.
No,
We need more of him.
Yeah.
We need more of him. I think I'm not happy with reticent people like evil people like Jaishankar, who are like conniving in the background and not coming in front. You
Right.
want people like him
Yeah.
who are coming in to say that I'm not a real minister, and then you're putting a reel about it. Fantastic. I love
It was hilarious, and plus, the thing is, I don't know why. Initially, like I used to notice this. Like I mean, for years, because I've also worked in Parliament, I know that there are some ministers who are absolutely idiotic. They don't deserve to be in that place or whatever. But because everything was being run from the PMO, etc., people were like, "नहीं ठीक है, मोदी जी कोई गाली मारो," because obviously वही सब कर रहे, right? तो ministers क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है? There are some like standout people like Rajnath or Nitin Gadkari who had somewhat of a personality of their own, but I guess they were also like being like, "नहीं ठीक है, इसको like let him do his thing. अपना भी time आएगा" types,
So they will be very happy with what's happening. There is no reason for either Gadkari or Rajnath to give him good counsel, because they know that he's going to get into a mess,
Yeah.
because of what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how difficult it is to explain to anybody what Modi is going through. That like the idea that for the first time in your life, you have at the apex of your career, when you're talking of 1,000-year Reich and so on, you deliver 240.
Yeah.
Then what are you supposed to do with it? Like where do you go from there? I think that within the BJP, there will be a lot of things happening that none of us will really know about, because it's a very secretive and close party. But will have a great deal of impact in the way that these things unfold.
But then this is also the time when leaks are abound, right? Which is like, this is the time when, initially people who were like keeping mum will now start to talk. Because honestly,
It's happening.
It's already happening. Like, I mean, if you hear the political gossip in Delhi, like if you meet people, so much of it is already happening, which is like people are
Not just gossip. I'm saying that Nitin Gadkari is writing a letter to Sitaraman saying remove GST from insurance covers. Anupriya Patel is writing to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh saying make sure that you have domicile reservations.
Yeah.
This didn't happen in 2018.
No,
this
it
didn't happen in 2015. Yeah, and there was a reason for that, because there was this kind of top-down, one message, one man sort of thing, which is over now. It's gone for good.
So
and that's a great thing.
It is, and also like so my thing was before 4th of June, my ideal scenario was that Modi comes back to power but without a majority, because honestly my feeling was that that if for example the unicorn scenario had happened, which is like India Alliance sweeps the election and wins and comes to power, I feel like they wouldn't let them survive. Because they have all the money, they have all the resources, they have all the people currently, decade-long people who are in the institutions who will constantly try to sabotage the government or whatever. My thing was that I want him to come to power and experience coalition because he would be extremely incompetent at it. Do you think, is that why you were also happy?
There's two things. I think if the BJP had actually lost, like let's say they were at 190 and somebody else had taken power and the BJP had connived to make sure that this government didn't last too long, which is what normally is done in this country.
Right.
That when the Congress supports parties from outside, it pulls the ladder under them at some point and then leaves them hanging, as was done through the 90s, as those of us who are sort of old enough will know. But I think that would still have meant that this gloss would have gone. Modi has lost his sheen. If you're a perfect figure, there was this beautiful line that MJ Akbar used for Imran Khan 30 years or so ago, when he was first accused of fathering a child with this person from Britain. And he said कि दांत के छींटे जो है वो काली शलवार पर दिखाई नहीं देते, वो सिर्फ सफेद शलवार पर दिखाई देते. That if you're this figure who's perfect, you will see the stains on yourself in a way which is much more pronounced than somebody else. I think that's become true of Modi. That he's not that figure who is. I don't see that kind of confidence anymore. And maybe I'm on the other side, and so I could be wrong about this. But all those standees and posters and banners about him being the ruler of the world and the king of G20 and all that, those are gone. They're gone for
It's
good.
actually
They're
quite
gone for good.
stark. Akar, I can tell you in Delhi, right? It's such a stark difference. It's very bizarre. Like, I think 4th of June is when this happened. A week later, I believe, there was this sort of say, conference type thing happening in Delhi because 7 MPs won from Delhi. So they wanted to felicitate them or whatever. And it was happening in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. वहीं पे कहीं पे. I'm guessing like they were calling the party to like celebrate, etc. I was going through that street, right outside. Not a single picture of Modi ji, just pictures of these 7 MPs. I have never seen their faces, except Manoj Tiwari. I have never seen the faces of these people. And now all across Delhi, I only see these faces. Like, I mean, even in central Delhi, where if you go during G20, every like 50 meters, there would be a Modi popping up at your face, really. It's bizarre. Like, I don't know why, but suddenly Modi ji or his party or whoever was putting out those posters has suddenly realized कि ये अब बिक नहीं रहा है, ये product बिक नहीं रहा है, अभी बंद करो इसको. Why? Like,
No,
again, see, it's so it's weird.
Yeah, for this reason, I want them to push the broadcast bill in the form that it is now.
Yeah.
I want them to win the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha and the public debate and the Supreme Court and stop a few, broadcasters from putting their material out.
Yeah.
And see what the fallout is.
Right. In a way, I'm also very happy that Modi ji came to power also because what you said about...
I should say here that, by the way, your campaign against it was one of the best I've seen. That given the limitation of the number of people who are involved in it, it's not even as if Rathi and Ravish and all were part of it. The way that you guys did it, the way that you guys framed it, and the way that you guys executed it, and the way and where you are now.
Yeah.
That you're sitting with people in positions of authority who are in a place where they can block it. That's what a real good, successful campaign looks like. So well done.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Also because you wrote the cookbook. So, but honestly, one of the things during this campaign which I realized, again, I feel like at some point of time, I also realized in my career only, like in the last few years especially, that, I have to sort of go beyond just being a content creator where I'm just educating people. Because after a point, I felt like that has its own limitations, right? Like I used to give information to people about crazy shit that is going down. Modi ji is doing this law is being passed, whatever. And then people would come to me and like, sure, we get it, well explained. But what do we do? Next is what? What do we do? So one of the things that you also say in your book is, it's very important to create spaces for people, which is like, where not only is it a protest space per se, but it is an idea sharing space sort of a thing, right? So,
Yeah, you guys have the fundamental right to do what you're doing.
yeah.
And I think that morally, ethically speaking, you're doing work that speaks to the rest of us and for the rest of us.
Yeah.
There is no reason why newspapers shouldn't be doing what you're doing. It's only that they live in their cubby holes and assume that they are supposed to report and then shut up, But that's not the way that journalism is meant to be structured. That you have the reportage spaces which give you the fact. You have the opinion spaces that tell you what ought to be done. But when what ought to be done is not done, what next? Should you not protest?
Yeah.
Should you not say to the state, the powers that hold the authority, that what you're doing is wrong? That you can't do this. You can't stifle us. You can't strangle us. I think it's absolutely right. And I think the way that you've gone about it is magnificent. And I suspect that a lot of people will learn from it. That when you have a
Go on. Sorry. Complete.
No, when you have a small group of committed people who believe in the cause, that's all you need. I'm saying that it doesn't matter whether what you're up against is the state of this kind of power. If your cause is right and you are able to mobilize, you will get the thing done. I think that what you guys have achieved is a reflection of that within the spaces that we have available to us, this is exactly what should have been done. And I'm glad you guys have done it.
And like credit goes to the nerd army who is right now in chat. Basically, my chat is called Nerd Army. So what we do is we are doing these little initiatives, which is basically active citizenship in a way, right? So like we met MPs and we raided their houses, we gave them issue briefs. Surprisingly, like people had turned up. I had just given a random call कि Patel Chowk metro station के parking lot पे let's assemble, and on budget day at 9 in the morning, and we will give issue briefs. We will knock on doors, and we will give issue briefs, right? One of the things that people realized in that campaign was they couldn't believe how accessible our representatives are. They were like, I have never thought that I could just ring a doorbell of, let's say, a Derek O'Brien's house. His person will come out or he himself will come out and we will just hand them the brief. 5 minutes में बस हाँ sir, infrastructure का brief है, broadcasting bill का brief है. Please take a look at it. Please raise it in parliament, right? How did we get here? Like honestly, like now I'm thinking, why has citizenship been killed to such an extent where people don't even know that they can talk to their representatives anymore?
No, firstly, for the most part in our part of the world, people tend to knock on legislators' doors for personal issues. बेटी की शादी है, घर में पावर नहीं है, बेटे को नौकरी नहीं मिल रही है. For somebody to go there and say we are concerned about a larger issue that is about democracy and freedom of speech and sort of expression is not something that has been done for the most part in our democratic history. They're not used to it. Having said that, it is always effective to knock on those doors. You should be at Derek O'Brien's doors or whoever else's doors to say, I feel strongly about this issue. Could you please accommodate my view in what it is that you're doing? It doesn't matter whether this person will do it or not. He or she will keep your view at the back of their mind purely because of the fact that you acted. The reason why the Shaheen Bagh movements or the movement that was linked to the farmers' protest was successful was because of mass mobilization on the ground. It's the most extreme form of mobilization, which is physical presence. But even making sure that you tweet at this person, you Facebook at this person, you missed call this person does make a difference. And I would encourage people to do so, because that is the way in which people in free societies act. That democracies don't begin or end with the vote. That you have agency beyond the point of June 4, going into June 4 in 2029. Yeah.
2029.
Yeah, and you should use that agency, whether it is an email or a phone call or a missed call or a tweet or a personal visit, all of that. And it does matter, and it is actually effective because so few people relatively in a population of 1.4 billion do it. That if you have 30,000 people out on the outskirts of Delhi saying that these farm laws which have been passed through ordinance and then through parliament, or to be scrapped. Not only will they be scrapped, but the PM will say sorry for the fact that they were passed. And I'm
Yeah.
saying that if that is what works, then we should take lessons from it.
But even if it's for so you said people approach MPs for personal favors. I absolutely agree, because when I was working with MPs offices, we used to get calls like this only, which is either it would be like अरे हमारे घर में power नहीं है, please कुछ करो, या फिर it would be like किसी को job दिलाना है, या फिर like one of those KV seats that you could allocate, train ticket, PMNRF से fund चाहिए. So it's all personal issues, right? But also another thing, I don't mind it when people actually approach their representatives, even if it's for personal things. What I do mind is you don't even know that you can do this, which is what I
Yeah.
felt, right? Which is like, have we become so privileged? Have we become so insensitive and so desensitized that we don't even understand the concept that our representatives are human beings who are essentially representing us, and we can go and talk to them like normal people?
Well, for a large part, people like you and I who come from a particular background, upper class, um, the caste is there. We don't need the state as much as most people do. 95% of the
Right.
people need the state much more than you and I do. Our only intercourse with the state is when we need our passport renewed or whatever else. We don't otherwise require the state to function for us. And it's normal that people would go to their representative with claims for either jobs or the power or the daughter's wedding or whatever else. But that's the large that is the population. The part that is able to survive without requiring any kind of assistance from the state and which is privileged is very small. And I don't grudge at all the person who engages with his or her representative for personal reasons which are not linked to larger causes, because that's how life it is. That's how life is for most people,
Yes.
and that's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that.
And in a way, so, what you said earlier, like I'll just go back to that. But before that, there is a question which I want you to answer. Manu here is saying, thank you for the 2 months, Manu. Any of the BJP ministers, will any of the BJP minister resign on moral grounds? See, that's what I was coming to. Accountability, right? A real minister is looking at, I don't know, one disaster after the other railway wise. He is standing over like this weird bill that he has drafted जिसमें अभी थोड़ा बहुत noise शुरू हो गया है. He's a very incompetent person in general, like from the looks of it, from his performance. Why isn't he being held accountable? And have we
No,
gone beyond the time when people resign?
no, this is the problem with authoritarian regimes, that if I'm reporting to Meghnad and I'm a total fuck up and I'm not doing my job right, and I bugger it up to the extent that people are dying, trains are getting derailed. If I resign on the question of accountability, it means that Meghnad is also to blame in some fashion for having appointed
Right.
somebody as incompetent me as, and that's not going to happen. And I think all dictatorial, sort of tyrannical, authoritarian places have that same. Putin has the same defense minister till about 6 months ago that he had for 20 years. The guy was in charge through all of the mischief that they did in the Middle East and what they did in Ukraine. Because for that person to assume that they had done something wrong at that level, you're not talking of something, somebody down the line. You're speaking to somebody who's running the flagship programs, right?
Right.
Vande Bharat, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that flagship program constitutes.
Yeah.
For that person to say that I've done something wrong because I've got the basics not right would mean that my boss has not been overseeing me in the right way. And that's not going to happen.
But the same logic then, I mean, if you look at Nirmala Sitharaman, like everybody is upset with the budget, etc. Surely at some point, Narendra Modi has to see ki nahi, thoda sa, I think we need to do something here. Does he not care anymore? What is
It's
happening?
not about her. To be fair to her, she's just a Brahmin woman making the best of what she's been given.
Correct.
She's not there because of competence. But for her to be removed, two things will have to happen. The first and more important thing is that the government and the Prime Minister will have to accommodate the view that the 4th of June represents a shift. and therefore the finance minister should be different. That's not going to happen. The other thing is that the continuation of policy represents a continuation that is fundamentally wrong and therefore has to shift, and therefore she has to go. That will also not happen. It is very good for the opposition in this time because the person who is in charge of a tyranny doesn't really have full control over the system.
Right.
If I am a tyrant, I want control over the media, control over parliament, control over the courts, control over the opposition. The problem with being a mini-me, this is a mini-me.
Yeah.
He's a tyrant who is at 240. He's much smaller as a tyrant than he used to be. Is that he doesn't have the reach. He can't reach out to the opposition. He can't reach out to the justice system. And therefore, he has to be within the confines of what he thinks is right. I will hold on to Sitaraman, hold on to Jaishankar, hold on to Doval, and assume when I go to the bathroom mirror that the world is the same as it was on June the 3rd. And maybe the world will also assume that the world is the same as it was. It's not the same world.
So you're saying
But
he's
that's the
living in
problem.
denial. Like in a way,
He is,
he's.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting way to look at it. But that also means, okay, so here again, before the elections, we were talking about this. For example, when we were covering his shenanigans of going to like meditate or Ram Mandir or whatever. In one clip, we were counting the shots, like how many camera people must be there on that particular Vivekananda rock to be able to do this cinematic 4-minute grand video from morning to evening. He was there because it starts with a sunrise, ends with a sunset, right? It's weird how this man probably has created like a sort of a firewall around himself where nobody is telling him what is reality anymore. And he continues to do that now, but it has completely changed outside that bubble. But doesn't that like have like effect on the country at large? That's my
It's
question,
having
right?
it. Your formulation is absolutely right.
Yeah.
That he's made this firewall, which didn't make a difference before the 4th of June, because it was a real firewall. Where he was seen as this figure who would bring about substantial change over 25 years. But the 4th of June showed that the people said that that's not what we want. He has retained that firewall on the assumption that he can continue doing what he wants, which is why I think getting into issues like the Waqf bill, like the broadcasters bill, is something that I personally would want to see him do, because I want to see him expend whatever goodwill he has on things that are absolutely meaningless. For the rest of it, you think that Ravish Kumar determined the direction of the voting on the 4th of June? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Nobody does, but I'm saying that when you are this kind of person, you assume that you are that good that it was only this thing that stopped you from becoming a ruler for the next 25 years, and therefore that
Right.
thing ought to be stopped, and that's the thing that I'm going to go after.
It also shows a bit of lack of imagination, if I'm being honest, because like see, it's so simple, right? Like if let's say Dhruv Rathi, like if all these Smita Prakash type people were also like very hot and bothered about, oh, Dhruv Rathi ko itne views kaise mil rahe, etc. whatever, right? But honestly, like I
No,
spoke to I
you
spoke
have to be you have to be damn dumb to think that people who are voters or who have become voters in recent periods would discard 10 years of experience over
exactly
one 15-minute video. I'm
exactly
living through this phase. I know what I'm going through
yeah.
at my job, in my family, in my economy, in my sort of inflation, in everything else. I'm personally experiencing it every minute of my living day. Why would I need somebody else externally to tell me what is right or wrong?
Also, besides that, like I was talking to a few people like who were on the ground like during elections. I also traveled a little bit. They told me, listen, Dhruv Rathi वगैरह कोई देखता नहीं है. What they do watch is hyper local journalists and creators, right? Which is like एक खड्डा दिखा, एक वहां पे पीछे एक इलेक्शन रैली चल रहा है. पीपल हैव पुल्ड अप देयर कैमरा, लाइक देखो इलेक्शन रैली पे कितना खर्चा किया और यहाँ पे हमारा एक खड्डा है. यहाँ पे 2 साल से यहीं पे आई हैव बीन वॉकिंग ऑन दिस स्ट्रीट ऑल डे एंड दिस खड्डा इज स्टिल हियर एंड लुक एट हाउ मच मनी दे आर स्पेंडिंग ऑन अ रैली, राइट? And that's in their local language, in their local dialect, etc. So they were saying that there was like this insane amount of hyper local content being shared, because obviously cheap geo rates, which are not cheap anymore, and also the fact that they were sort of expressing like an emotion there. Yeah. So like even like all said and done, Dhruv Rathi is cut and dry, right? You know, like it's researched, it's good looking, it's like an explainer video. There's a certain lack of emotion there. But what these people were doing were outraging, right? I feel like that made more of a difference than anything else. Or at least
Well,
that's the sense I got. Yeah.
I hope not, because I think that Rathi and Meghnad and Ravi Shanol give us a trajectory rather than my local road.
Correct.
And I think for most people, that is more important. I accept that that's not how, on a disaggregated fashion, this works. That if you look at Orissa, the answer would be that people really believe in Modi and think that it's the best thing. But if you look at Bengal, the answer is no. If you look at Tamil Nadu, the answer is no. If you look at, say, Karnataka, the answer is maybe no.
Maybe.
So, but the people that I want to stop giving voice to as a tyrant is not the local journalists, because I can push that problem downstream and say that it's a problem of execution and candidate selection rather than of broad strategic direction. The problem with engaging with Medusa and Rathi and Meghnad and Ravish is that you have to engage with something bigger than the pothole.
Right.
And once you do that, once you have to think about where the country is going, it's not that easy for me to discard my personal experience over the last 10 years.
Correct. And also another thing is it's also easy then for if you're like a tyrant person who again lack of imagination is what I call it, which is like you have lost face. 240 tak aa gaye aap. As you said, you're not able to look into the mirror same way. You're also seeing how he is in speeches, etc. Maybe it's like a psychological trick that we are playing on ourselves, but he does seem like he's calmed down a little bit and gotten a little bit more real. One of the examples that someone gave me was, if you remember, when he was going on in his car, there used to be a light coming from the bottom, which was illuminating his face, right? There is no light anymore. Now there is just a dark car with windshield. कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है कौन है कहाँ है मोदी जी.
Bad.
Yeah. So it's little signs. He doesn't change as many clothes as he used to in a daily basis. That's also one more thing that people pointed out. I'm like, interesting things. In a situation like this, I feel like he's looking to place blame on someone. And maybe he's just targeting these amorphous group of creators now.
No, there is a fundamental problem here. There is a word in English called solipsism, and it means that you're the only thing that exists. Nothing else exists outside of you. There are two kinds of leaders. One is a kind of leader that wants some kind of agenda to be taken up and to be executed. The other is the kind of leader that believes that they are in power because they should be the leader and they know best what is to be done, whether it is to sort of abolish currency or to bring all economic activity to a halt and so on. So these are two different things. The ideological position where you want to, when you want to work towards an end, will necessarily lend you to working with partners because you want to achieve something. You want to achieve either, 8% GDP growth, or you want 55%, labor force participation rate, or you want 1/3 of the labor force to be women. You want something to be achieved and you work towards that. And towards that end, you're willing to sacrifice other things. You'll sacrifice X, Y, and Z because that is your main aim. If your primary aim is to ensure that the world India thinks of you as being this savior figure, you will continue down that stream. Modi has no second view. He's the second kind of person. I know him. I've met him personally more than once. I
was about to ask you that. Yeah.
He will only drive towards the idea that this is pre-June 4, where I am still the kind of figure where people worship me, where whatever I say is gospel. And for him to accept that what he did 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 11 months ago was wrong is not going to be able to go into his head, which is why Nirmala Sitaraman is the finance minister, which is why Jaishankar is foreign minister. Doval runs the RAW and IB, which is why Rajnath Singh and Amit Shah are where they are, because in his mind, in front of the mirror, he still thinks nothing has changed.
See, here's the thing. Like, I mean, I mean, so the way you put it, right? I have heard a few other people talk about this also, and I'm sure that Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu are smart people who also realize this. Why are they still propping him up? It's a big question, right?
They are not. If Meghnad, who's an egotistical maniac, gives me my 30 seconds of fame or my 30 rupees of revenue, why should I let go of him?
True.
If my understanding of him is that he is this egotistical maniac who only needs rubbing one side once every 15 days or so, I will rub him. Nitish, you cannot be prime minister, you can't be the chief minister of Andhra Pradesh twice over and for the third time now without being very bright. You
Yeah.
cannot run coalitions of the sort that Nitish has run without being exceptionally smart and sharp. These are street smart, street sharp people. They're not naive. I'm telling you, that I guarantee you this, that though they have zero stake in the broadcast bill, they will be putting their hands up and saying, "Ye mat karo." And the reason they will say this is that when they want something specific, they will compromise what they want here and raise it there. Everything that you give here will be taken back somewhere else. That's the nature of the world. It's give and take.
Very
And for this
fascinating.
reason, I believe that they should pursue this. You should pursue these dead ends where you don't get anything in the end, whereas you're compromising and giving stuff up to your so-called allies. And that's the way that coalition politics shouldn't work. The way that coalition politics should work is that you have an agreed goal that you more or less try and frame between the four or five of you, and you shoot towards that, and then you compromise on the externalities, the things on the periphery. This is not that. I want to shut down Meghnad. I want to shut down Ravi. That's my main thing. The side thing is I want to maybe give some money to Bihar or AP or whatever. That's not the way the world works. The world will squeeze you, and the world is squeezing you.
One of the examples was that whole name thing, that happened in UP because of the Kavad Yatra, where they were like, put out names of the owners, etc. And then their allies started talking against it. Was that one more instance of this? Yeah.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I was one of the petitioners in that case.
Yes, you were, yes.
We filed the case. The case came up on Monday. The first respondent was the union government. Do you know what the union government said on Monday?
What did they say?
They didn't show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
The case, we got a stay.
Huh.
The case was sent to Friday. What did the union government say on Friday? They didn't show up.
Okay.
One of the problems that I have as a tyrant is that if in my party of, let's say we have a 5-person party, there's me, Meghnad, and 3 other people.
Right.
If we have a shared ideology, any time that Meghnad feels he has to assert himself, he will question me and challenge me on that ideology. I suspect that is what happened here.
Okay.
And this June the 4th represents a shift so monumental that neither Modi nor his chamchas have actually understood it.
But so if he's been okay, other way to ask this. Okay, so let's say I want to be that person now. I want to let's say start my journey of becoming let's say I don't know, do you even think that you want to be the best person in this universe and when you start the journey, or do you just I don't know, start as I want to be, I don't know, chief minister one
Actually,
day?
you want outcomes that Nehru, who was in charge of an economy which is much smaller, says let's build a city that rivals any other city on earth. And he
Right.
doesn't do smart cities mission, he builds Chandigarh.
Yes.
He says let's try and figure out whether this part of the world can actually make something that rivals whatever Europe has to offer. I don't know how many people that are watching this have been to Chandigarh. I would definitely encourage you to go there. not because of the fact that it is special in some way, but it represents Nehru's ambition. If you look at the secretariat, if you look at the High Court, if you look at the streets, if you look at the planning, that's how the man thought. If your idea of the world is that I should remain in power so I can pick out what dress to wear at the United Nations, then the world will reveal itself to you in a different way. Modi has no vision. If you ask yourself what Hindutva economics is, what Hindutva national, security is, there are no answers because there is no doctrine. Nehru left something physical behind because he not only did he believe in it, he executed it. He didn't build a stadium that was named after himself because that was not the intent.
Right.
He wanted NID and he wanted IIM and he wanted IIT and he wanted things like that. Modi doesn't care about those things. He believes that he is sent to rule in a way that is different from what came before him. And I think that the 4th of June has shown that phase is now comprehensively over.
But then you need a certain amount of special sort of narcissism to even start somewhere, right? Which is, like, I often imagine, like Modi before he became the chief minister, right? Which is a karyakarta or whatever. I've read like some blogs where, like he had like some profile pieces done on him in the 90s, etc. We did a reaction video on it also, where, they're saying, oh, ye bahut technology istemal karte hai. He's sitting with a laptop in a room and it's just so out of place. It's like, aise koi kaam nahi karta normally. Like that giant laptop which you used to get in the 90s. Very weird. Like it was all like made up. You can see it. And back then there were Rajiv Shukla and Swati Chaturvedi who were doing the interviews of Modi ji. What did he like decide this in his head कि नहीं मुझे एक दिन पूरे दुनिया पे राज करना है फिर इंडिया पे राज करना है, and then he started, or do you think it just happened as he went along and he's incredibly lucky that it happened?
I think the luck point came in 2002 when the violence in Gujarat gave him the space to, before him, for those people who are old enough, the BJP was apologetic about violence. That when they pulled down the Babri Masjid and thousands of people died, about 3,000 in all, Advani ji said it was the worst day of his life. But this fellow never really either apologized for not having been able to control violence in the state that he was in charge of, or offered any kind of explanation for why it was that he failed or why his ministers were convicted for participating in the violence, or later acquitted, obviously. And I think that he was able to acquire a notoriety if you were on the other side, or a fame if you were on this side, because of that episode. And that remained with him. And that remained with him in a state which is quite competent. I think we are the Tamil Nadu of North India. I think along with maybe Haryana, because of the concentration of economic activity. Gujarat is disproportionately responsible for the GDP of northern India, and tends to compete with states like Karnataka and or Tamil Nadu. So and that's always been the case. It's not because of Modi.
It was before as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 54 and I'm sort of old enough to know that this was definitely the case. But he was able to combine that with this image of being somebody who was hard on Muslims and was able to use that to be able to get where he is. But after 22 years, he's had for the first time in his life to face the fact that he doesn't have a majority. And he doesn't have a majority because of the fact that one big reason is that the largest state supporting him said no to him. Uttar Pradesh, saying that we don't want the BJP, despite the electoral bonds, despite the ECI being as
compromised, exactly.
Absolutely. Despite the fact that everything was ranged against the opposition, they pulled off UP, and I think that kind of deflated him in a way that the rest of us can see. We can laugh at him. I can laugh at him, but he can't laugh at like himself, which is why he pretends that it's still the 3rd of June with the
Yeah.
same cabinet
Yeah.
and the same mode. Yeah.
A continuity. And now that you bring in the election commission, there is another thing that is in the news, which a few people here also asked about. The whole story that broke out about ADR's report, right? Some 79 seats, I believe. There were some discrepancies which were observed. Mahmood Pracha is also like going around giving interviews about it. He released some videos which showed some tampering happening somewhere. Do you think this mandate was stolen?
I hope not, but I think that it's incumbent on the ECI to respond to questions. It shouldn't matter whether the questioners have the background and the acceptability that the ADR does, which it does. I think that they are heavy. When you spoke about musicians who played with Zappa, you talked about people who were heavy. They brought in substance. These are not people that you can dismiss as saying that they are coming at it with some kind of agenda. They're doing it because they're anti-national. These are people who have brought about fundamental change in the electoral process based on their activism.
Correct.
You have to respect them for that. Amnesty has not won the Philip Kotler Award. We have won the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm saying that at some point you have to separate the two and say, okay, maybe we should treat them slightly more seriously.
Differently, yes.
Yeah, given that fact, I think that the ECI's language was intemperate. I think in dismissing what the questions were, they shouldn't have used that language. What they should have done is to explain why the discrepancy occurred and why perhaps it might occur again, if it will. I don't know if it will. And why, if they figured out why it won't in the next poll. That was what the ECI should have done. What they did instead was to put out tweets which were quite insolent. And I think that that's not the way that you
Raise trust.
bring about confidence. Yeah, you can't. ADR is not, you can't. I mean, I'm saying these are not guys that you muck around with easily. These
Yeah.
are guys who, these are IIT, IIM guys who worked on this for 30, 40 years, who know what they're talking about, who believe in what they're saying, who are asking you questions. Respond to them with gentility, if not politeness. But for you to say in insolent fashion that is motivated,
Fake news, whatever.
it does not produce trust.
And
And so, just to answer your question, though I would like to believe that the process was in the end fair, I would like the ECI to ensure that more of us feel that way.
but see,
And they
that's
can only
why
do that.
that's why I asked this question, because that insolent attitude which I saw, like the series of tweets that you mentioned, right? It's very jarring. Like I have not, like it just exactly what you said. Like mera trust nahi hai abhi. Basically, as they respond like this more and more, as I feel like my belief gets stronger that कुछ तो छुपा रहे, like कुछ तो गड़बड़ करके बैठे, इसलिए they are giving these answers. Otherwise, why wouldn't they? Like, what is the reason? What is the other reason why they would not just simply answer their questions or clarify why it was a clean and nice elections that they did?
No, I think it's the tu kaun hai kind of thing, that I am the state.
Yeah.
How dare you question me? And I think that the idea that this is a democratic process where citizens have the right to question hasn't really been accommodated downstream. This is the problem when you run a tyranny with chamchas. That when you have people who are unelected, whether they are Jaishankar or Sitaraman or Doval or whoever else downstream, the assumption is that I speak on the authority of the king, and because I do so, I can say what I want. And how dare you question me because I speak on the authority of the king? And it seems to have unfortunately permeated down to the ECI.
Vignan here has a very good question, I think, related to that, which is what do you, Aakar, think about the PMO and the bureaucrats that are handling it? Like I want to add to that because you must have seen him handling a CMO and he brought the same sort of culture into the PMO. Can you just describe that a little bit?
So I think it's as good or bad as the leader is. So Nehru had a PMO of one. So he had one person from the civil services who was his PMO, so to speak, and then he would function through this one person, and then it became expanded under Vajpayee to being a very large thing. Now it's 1,000 people. One of the more depressing things to know is that it's this body that knew about demonetization before the cabinet. So the cabinet came into the meeting where demonetization on the same day that it was sort of announced to the rest of us, and they were told to leave their cell phones behind. And they came into the meeting and they were told this was happening, but because they didn't know, the ministries didn't know, and the ministries did not prepare. Same thing happened with the lockdown, that the BBC filed 241 RTIs, which showed that nobody in cabinet, whether disaster management or finance or whoever else, knew that this was coming that day, and it was enforced blindly, and we saw what the consequences of that were. The PMO is, think of it as a darbar. Don't think of it as being this set of really bright people.
Okay.
The same person who's apparently really sharp, one of the brightest people I know, I won't name him, but he's worth thousands of crores of rupees. He and I were talking about this thing a few years ago, and one of the few people who knew about demonetization coming was this guy called TV Somanathan,
Okay.
who was in the PMO then. This is to 2016. He's the finance secretary now. It's 2024. 8 years on. It's the same set of people doing the same set of things. Do you see any change?
No.
Has the labor force participation rate increased? Has anything changed? The problem is that when you have one person intent on influencing the polity through their genius, the others will fall into place, particularly those people who are not themselves directly elected.
Right.
The cabinet is important for one reason, which is that those people who win their own seat are able to push back against stupidity of the sort Modi can put out quite regularly by saying that this is not good for my constituents. But if you had 350 seats or 400 seats, it's difficult for ministers to do that, particularly ministers like Jaishankar and Sitaraman, who can't win their own seat.
Yeah.
What will they say? What will Sitaraman? She can't win her own seat. She doesn't even contest.
Yeah.
There's no way she'll be able to push back against any law which says that the middle class should be taxed for its property gains, because she has zero authority and zero chance of being able to speak back to the Prime Minister.
But then
We
what do
should
you
have
think? So if you look at it, if I apply the same logic now on, let's say, a Gadkari or a Rajnath Singh has like a massive majority in Lucknow, right? Matlab, like, so the margin was big in Lucknow. Why won't they push back then? Like, I mean, they are the ones who should ideally then do it.
If I were Rajnath Singh and or Nitin Gadkari, I would wait for Modi to get himself into more trouble, because I know that space. For me, I already have what I need, which is I've got my ministry, which is serious. For both for Gadkari and for Rajnath, they've got serious ministries.
Right.
What more can they want? They can only want the job which is on top of what they have right now, which can only be the Prime Minister's job. For that to happen, if they don't have the capacity to be able to topple him internally, which neither of them does, I should say, they can only wait for him to make mistakes, which is what they're doing. You will not find them defending him. When was the last time that you found Rajnath Singh or Nitin Gadkari defending what Modi is doing? When this bill comes, I hope this bill comes into play, the broadcasters bill. I want us, you and I, to make a list of how many ministers support it. Will Gadkari support it? Will Rajnath Singh support it? Will they say something in public? Will they do something in public to make sure that Dhruv is banned? That
Honestly,
is what I want to see.
Now that you mention it, it's very weird. Like, so, okay, so Priyanka Gandhi tweets in the morning, right? Which is broadcasting bill should not come in, etc., etc. I believe Pawan Khera also issued a statement yesterday detailing out
I
why
saw
this
that.
bill
Yeah.
shouldn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see her tweet, but I saw his.
Yeah. So Priyanka Gandhi also did this, and I was wondering कि कोई तो बोलेगा ना, like I mean, like Priyanka Gandhi कौन react कर रहा है इस पे? Malviya. Amit Malviya reacted to it, and what he does is he puts up a question ka screenshot of that Jawahar Sarkar. He had asked a question in Parliament, saying, is the consultation going on? And the ministry gave like a very stupid response, saying that public consultation is going on. They specifically omitted the year of the draft because 2023 का consultation हुआ था, 2024 का नहीं हुआ है. So they, in that answer only, we spotted that. It's like a very clever way of sort of plausible deniability, right? So Amit Malviya is responding to this. I have not seen anybody else from the BJP so far, including their like major trolls,
Why do you think?
supporting
Why?
this.
Why?
They are also scared. I mean, that's the only explanation.
No, I'm saying that in the moment you see, the moment I heard in November 2019 that tens of thousands of people in Muslim neighborhoods had mobilized against NRC, I knew that there would be no NRC. The moment that we knew that tens of thousands of Sardars had mobilized on the outskirts of Delhi at the end of 2020, that there would be no farm bills.
Right.
The moment that you guys activated yourself on this issue, on this dumb bill, we knew that there would be no bill. Because I'm saying that you have both, there is nothing going for the government in this.
Right.
They will have to expend goodwill, they will have to mobilize. From 240, you have to get to 273 in the Lok Sabha. From 90 or whatever it is, you have to get to 115 in the Rajya Sabha. You have to convince the Supreme Court. You have to convince all these noisy mischief makers that you guys are, that this is good for the country.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. This is a bill that's going to die. Yeah. The moment I saw that this bill was passing, I knew that it would die because this bill was fated to die.
Right. That's one way to put it. that's one way to put it. I like that. That is so much hope. That raises so much hope. But I'm going to take some questions from people now. Interesting. Valkyrie is asking, do you think Mrs. Sitaraman is complicit in ED IT raids?
No.
No?
To be fair to her, I don't think that she's important.
Okay.
I don't think that Jetli, who's dead now. Like when we were raided in 2018, I think it was the first time. The ED officers who raided us told me. So I asked for a copy of my signed statement, and they said that no, we'll give it to you if we press charges, which they didn't give me. But in 2 days' time, this is going by 2020. For 2 hours, it was shown on Times Now and on Republic. My statement without it being given to me.
Okay.
Jetli had given it to them. I don't think he had given it to them because he had any kind of agency. And I know those people who worship him really know what kind of agency he had. But she's similar. What can she do? She can't win her own seat. She doesn't even contest her own seat.
Right.
Do you think that she has any control over the finance ministry? The answer is no. She does what PMO bureaucrats tell her to do. Because Modi, I guarantee to you that Modi has not read the budget draft bill. It is people who have read it out for him, and he has said yes, no, maybe, and people have decided on his behalf for her that this is how it should be.
But then how do you run a country like this? Okay, serious. Like, I mean, like, how?
This is how it's being run. No, in any proper functioning, sane nation, would you come on television and say that your currency is no longer valid? Like, what kind of dumbass country does that happen in? It happens in this country because there is no restriction on this kind of stupidity because we allow the messianism, which has ended. I think June 4 has ended that. But before June 4, the individual believed that he had the agency and the right to be able to do to us whatever he wants. I'll tell you something, Meghnad. I don't know how many of your viewers will have thought about this. How many women who are not literate, who are laborers, who are working, were exploited because they didn't know on that night at 8:30 what the money in their pocket was worth, were exploited by men. And I think that nobody will know this answer. We will not know this answer. But is the answer to this no women were actually exploited? I would say that it's no.
No,
That there would be a
it
lot.
can't be. It can't be.
And why would you put your countrymen and countrywomen through this for no reason? And if your reason is, oh, we will convert you to UPI, I want to punch you in the mouth, because that's not a good enough reason to put people through this,
Yeah.
But this is what he'll do, because he's a dumb, illiterate, half-baked messianic figure who has been shown his place on the 4th of June. And the great thing about this country is that after 10 years of this, at least we've been able to tell the state that this is not how we want to be run or ruled.
Right. Right. When demonetization happened, I think something in my brain had short circuited for sure. That was the day when I was like, this can't be real. I mean, this guy, I just couldn't process it. One, then I was like, this
No,
is
man,
really dumb.
I'll tell you something. I'm 54 years old. I've seen the world. I've seen this country. I knew what would come. And it's not because I'm bright or whatever else, but because I know how currency operates.
Yeah.
To do this to your own people is cruelty beyond belief.
Yeah.
And if the response after whatever 8 years is that because that now you have, you can buy Kela on UPI, that is not to my mind, good enough reason to have done it.
No, absolutely. There is a question from Nakul. Thank you for the support, Nakul. Guys, just a reminder, if you're watching this, please do support my work through either YouTube memberships, etc. Or you can go below. There's a link, buymeacoffee.com/megnerd. I'm trying to buy Medusa's tickets to come to Delhi so that we can do Desh Ke Liye Kaam, which she had.
I should tell your viewers that there is not much money to be made in content creation, whether in writing books as I do, or whether in doing YouTube shows like you do. And for the most part, people like you do it because you want to do it.
Yes.
And I think that it's important that those of us who believe in what you're doing should support you with money, because
That's
it's
true.
important.
And also, honestly, people, it's so funny. Like that day I went to, when I was doing the MP rates, uske pehle I did some groundwork. Basically, I just didn't want to show up to rudely to a bunch of MPs. And I also wanted to make sure that some of them actually give us time. So I was doing the rounds. I was meeting a few MPs. I go to this MP's house. They're making me wait in their office. 2 ANI people come out, right? And they were waiting for a bite or something. They were like, अच्छा आपको देखा है बोले कि ओके कि आप ये कोई न्यूज़ व्यूज़ करते हो ना, बोले कि हाँ मतलब यूट्यूब पे कितना कमा लेते हो, राइट? एंड एक तो वेरी weird question to ask to a random person you just met, but still I'm like नहीं ठीक है. I was like नहीं ठीक है, रेंट निकल जाता है. Just like रेंट निकल जाता है. कहाँ रहते हो? बोले कि साउथ दिल्ली में. अच्छा कहाँ पे बोले कि मालवीय नगर का रेंट निकल जाता है, मतलब अच्छी कमाई होती होगी आपकी. तो ऐसे कि not really. I mean, I know my colleagues who have gone on to become consultants and whatever policy teams of big.
I don't know if people understand how difficult it is for people who work purely on content to be on viewerships and what is received from the. And I think the government knows this, which is why I suspect that they are coming after you guys, because they think that the vulnerability will mean that you will stop your work.
Honestly, I will. If they take my equipment away, I have nothing. Basically, मेरे पास इतना savings नहीं है फिर से इसको recover करने का. तो I'll be just
The problem
time
is
to find a job.
If I go after somebody who has no other option, that person is going to fight back.
That's also true.
They are going to fight back before I act. They're going to fight back while I act. They're going to fight back after I act.
Because it's an existential crisis for us, right? So,
it doesn't, maybe money is a part of it, but I'm delighted to have seen the kind of mobilization you guys have done on this bill. because I think it's important that the rest of the country knows, because it's not something the opposition brought up. This is your doing. You
Yeah.
guys are the ones who brought it into notice. You guys are the ones who mobilized the opposition, telling them that it's important that independent voices be heard. And for this reason, I think there is no question but that you will win.
Nice. And that's what I was saying, right? Like I feel like if not now, when? It's also like that, which is like if not now, when? Like right after the elections, we have this atmosphere of people wanting to do something and sort of also like fight back after 10 years in a very weird way, like because it's also very cathartic. I feel like there is a lot of outpouring of that. So Nakul asks, what enabled Modi to be in such a position of power? What made him different from other people? Why do other ministers allow it and not try to replace him?
May I just take a bathroom break and come back?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tab tak I'll chat with chat. Yes. Okay, let me just thank people. Shakti, hi, thank you for the support. SST, thank you. So that is saying, please wait for 400 par viewers. Guys, I hope you are liking this stream also. Be nice people. Like it, like it. Mihir, thank you for the 1 month. Wait, did I not subscribe to Beer Biceps? What? Where did that come from? Okay, I guess. Mohit, thank you for the support. Roxy, please share, like, support. Yes, please do that. Advait, hello. I will read your question to Aakar when he returns. Flippant Jalapeno, thank you. Meera Dabir, thank you. Krutrik gifted 1 membership. Pooja 10 memberships, thank you. And Jatin says, thank you for the 2 months. When can we expect real minister to official the bill? As Aakar said, I hope never. That's the plan. That's our end goal, right? जाने ही नहीं देना है parliament में मुझे तो, honestly, because it's such a dumb piece of legislation. I don't think our MPs should waste their time on it, honestly, but at least till then, we will hope that it doesn't go to parliament. Right now, my go-to strategy is to make fun of this bill. If you agree with that, please say hi. If you understand what is happening with this bill, please say hi. And also, if you want to make fun of it, and if you agree with me, please say hi. Because it's really stupid, guys. It's so stupid. Manu, thank you for the 2 months. Any of the BJP members resign or wo ho gaya? And there are more questions coming in. Jash, thank you for the memberships also. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Dhruv is saying keep spreading the awareness, and when you get a chance to rest, use this for chai samosa. Dhruv, I'm going to put this in the Medusa fund also. Usko humko fir se lane ka bhi hai, to meet Rahul Gandhi this time. So that should be fun. She would really appreciate it. But thank you so much. Where were we? Oh yeah, I think Aakar is back. Hello again.
No, so when you meet Rahul Gandhi, make sure that you press him and he knows that you want him to put his party behind the fact that this bill should not be passed. That things should be made clear to him that this represents a danger, not just to democracy, but to free speech. And I think that as clearly as it's put to them, the better. And I hope you do get an audience with him.
Yeah. We are hoping. Their team has sort of assured us at this moment that they would this week. Let's hope.
You should also try and meet Vaishnav and Modi. And
We've been trying. We've been trying with his office, but they don't like respond. I don't know what is up. I
know.
It's bizarre. But yeah, we are trying to reach also like some allies and BJP people, but again, very less response from their end. So,
may I just go back to the question that you asked before we broke?
Yes. I was just going.
So my view is that before Modi, the BJP was quite apologetic because it didn't know how to mobilize people. So Advani in his book says that he didn't expect, he did not anticipate the sort of reaction he got from people when he led the Yatra, the Rath Yatra against the mosque, and that he was quite surprised that a lot of people would line up and vocalize and mobilize in favor of it. I think Modi was the first leader who was able to, and uh, Advani was apologetic when the mosque was broken down. Modi was neither apologetic nor, and I think this is the more important bit, was he able to be rid of. So Vajpayee at Goa in 2002 tried to change the chief minister. So the history of India after 47 has been that people in charge of violence, or who have overseen violence, tend to be changed. So if you look at, Hitendra Bhai in Gujarat in 68, 69, or like whoever else, after a bout of communal violence, you change the chief minister so that society has the chance to move on. This did not, for the first time, this did not happen in Gujarat. That the person who had overseen the violence, whether because of incompetence or because of the fact that he was involved, whatever the case may be, he remained in power, and then he was able to use that episode to be able to build on it, and gain either notoriety or fame, however you look at it. He was the first person. That's the difference between him and Advani. I think Advani was much more apologetic, as was Vajpayee, about what they had done. But they were the real people who built the party. That they built it from single digits over 30 years between the 50s and the 80s to double digits, and then Modi again doubled it to about 36, 37%. But now I fear for the BJP that number will stabilize at a lower level, because his charisma and his sort of era is now behind us.
But then BJP, do you think it will die completely, or will it become like the new Congress sort of a thing, default party?
It can't die, because I think it represents a very substantial part of the population that sees minorities, particularly Muslims, as being the fundamental problem.
Right.
It's a very base instinct, a very tribal instinct that registers itself politically. It will not go away. It will damage the country as it has damaged us. All this time. We are the only country in South Asia to say we are not a religion-based constitution. That we don't believe in the idea of majority-minority.
Right.
That we believe in the ideas of modernity, that we believe in the ideas of progress and secularism, and we don't care whether a person is named Meghnad or whether he's named Akbar or whatever else. They are trying to change that, because the BJP is extremely primitive in the way that it has its outlook. If you look at, I would urge BJP supporters, particularly those who are anglicized, to read its manifestos, the Janasangh manifestos from 1951 to the present day, to tell you that there is no plan. There is no plan on the economy. There is no plan on foreign policy. There is no plan. There is no pathway of getting into the UN Security Council. There's nothing. It's just mindless hatred. And that's all there is. And I think Modi benefited from it in a way that nobody else could have, because he had the episode of violence behind him. And he was not removed, and Vajpayee failed to remove him, and he was able to capitalize on that.
And so when you said that Advani was the one, let's say, I would say that the Rath Yatra that he did and all the things. So Advani was the one who sort of defined the BJP's ideology in a way, political ideology, I guess, right? Yeah, that's the one. But then
the idols were smuggled into Ayodhya in the same period as the Bharatiya Janasangh was formed.
70s, yeah.
50s.
50s, yeah. 1950s, yeah.
The early 50s. For all those decades, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, for 4 decades, they did not raise the issue of the Ram Janmabhoomi till the VHP did so in 1984.
Correct.
So they pursued the BJP, the VHP. And then they realized, Advani realized that this was where mobilization lay. That if you raised an issue which was especially divisive, you could actually mobilize well.
Right, right. And then if Advani is the one who defined it, uh, I mean defined it, let's say, and sharpened it a little bit, what did Modi add? Like, what did Modi
He
bring?
he definitely added an element which was middle class people who were opposed to the idea of Congress nepotism, Congress dynasticity, the idea that India was being held back not because of the fact that it was inherently great, but because it was ruled by incompetence, and it needed somebody of quality to be able to, strip that away and put India on the world center stage. He was able to do all of that. The fact that even Bollywood is nepotistic, that charisma transfers from a Prithviraj Kapoor to Raj Kapoor effortlessly, to Shashi Kapoor, to Kareena Kapoor. That was not thought about. It was just assumed that dynasty is bad in politics. The fact that when Gautam Adani passes, he will pass it on to his family, or when Mukesh Ambani goes, he give it to his children. That is not dynasty. That is merit.
Yeah.
Only in politics is this seen to be an issue. And separately, I think that we seem to think that the Sangh Parivar is not Parivar. That if within this kind of mob, if I pick a person whose name is Narendra Modi and who has had no experience of anything, but I make him chief minister, that is merit. On what basis, I don't know. He has not been elected.
That's
He
true.
has no. Yeah, it is true. But
Yeah.
he is from the Sangh Parivar, just as Rahul Gandhi is from the Gandhi Parivar.
Yeah.
Narendra Modi became chief minister with zero achievement behind him, purely because of the fact that he was a Sanghi who was able to stay loyal to the cause, and the Sangh felt that he was the right person. That was it.
I mean, he was also like, I don't know, like by some accounts, he was also a great organizer, right? Which is like, I guess, like election organization. He must have like done like some backroom work and then got attention and therefore became like the chief minister. Because in a
So
lot of ways,
the RS
you have to be a good manager, right? If you're a
of
chief
what?
minister, like one of the skills that you have to have is you need to manage people. So maybe he was a good manager. Would you say that?
I'm dying to find out now between 2024 August and June 20, not June, because we will likely have the elections in April 2029. I want to see what Modi's management skills are. Can he get the broadcast bill through? I want to see his management skills. Can
Yeah.
he get the work through? Can he get the NRC done? What do their manifestos say? Can they get that done? They are in government. It's the same ministers. Can they get it done?
Delimitation is also coming. That's a massive thing to get done.
You can't even get the census done. I'm saying that forget
Yeah. Yeah.
delimitation
Of course. Of course. Yes. Yes. Yes.
for different reasons. But yeah,
There was another question that someone had, which is like this government is very obsessed with hiding data for some reason. Like they don't. I don't think they believe that policies are made based on data. I've come to this conclusion, especially after reading your book. I think there's an entire section you have about how they hide data. When do you think this will change, though? Do you think it will change now, that where they'll start giving data? At least the bureaucrat should, or someone should. Solid
one of the
numbers.
successes that we've had in our democracy, other than the voting system, is of data. That people like Mahalanobis and all established that in a very large, very poor country, you could actually have enough numbers to frame government policy. And they have damaged that. Not they. Modi has damaged that by rejecting the consumer expenditure survey of 2017-2018, by not having a census since 2021, by having the Niti Aayog reject the data on jobs in
Yes.
2019.
Yep.
And I think that the only way for it to be re-established is for normalcy to come about, is for it to just, for the state to just take in whatever data there is. If you want to refute it, that's fine, but at
Correct.
least let it be on the record.
Correct. Correct.
Right now, we don't have that, and I think that that's a big difference between us and the other third world countries. Nehru and the others after him left behind a system where data could be collected really well.
Hmm.
And it was one of the jewels of the system that we could tell that we are a very poor country because we could establish the fact that so many of us are starving.
Right.
There is a paradox here. The country was saying to the world, we are a very poor country, but we were telling the world we are a very poor country because of the fact that it comes from the data that we have ourselves established.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't even tell the world that anymore because you're banning the data that you're gathering, and you're not giving it either to the world or yourself for no
Right.
reason other than for vanity. And I think that on jobs, on poverty, on population, on deaths, I think one of the reasons why the census is not out yet is because I think in the second wave, where Modi ran away for 20 days, is that the deaths will show that what the government believes is the number, which is 5 lakhs, is completely out of whack. And the census will show that it's like most likely 6 or 8 times that.
Oh, wow. So that's why that does make a lot of sense, honestly. Because I was thinking, I don't know why I give them so much credit, and I have to remind myself that they might not even have thought about this. Which is my assumption in this whole not doing census thing was honestly कि नहीं, delimitation the way it needs to be done, and one nation one election and women's reservation bill is all dependent on the census, then delimitation, then all of these other things happening at the same time, which is one nation one election, and of course women's reservation bill. So then they will wait till the freeze ends in 2026, then they will do the census, then they will do the rest. That was my assumption. But what you said makes more sense, which is they were trying to hide more shit.
You can't hide, nobody can hide 40 lakh deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody
And
can.
I think that, yeah, and the system is so good that it will catch it. And I think that's one reason why we don't have the census.
Oh, that's so sad. We don't even know how many people there are anymore. It's been a while since we know how many people there are anymore. Um,
True.
there's a few questions, but also so many people have contributed to the Medusa Fund. Thank you so much, guys. There is
Thank you very much.
Mrinal. Yes, there is Mrinal. There is Amit. There is Pragya. And Jagdish has made a very generous contribution. Arey, one-way ticket ho jayega, Jagdish. Thank you so much. Medusa will be very appreciative of this. Thank you very much. And Val, Aakar heard various stories of how random, idiotic, free of thought and rationality the decision-making process in Mowgli's admin is. True, or are they a truly cutting-edge, hyper-smart and objective-oriented administration?
No.
No, no, no. uh, Big fan of Aakar and his books is what Jagdish says. Rajiv, thank you so much for the membership. And Jyotsna, thank you. And Pradhan, thank you for the 10 months. Aakar, what do you think will be the impact the current budget has on the country?
I have I'm 54. I've never seen a budget that has impacted the country. So I think it'll have zero impact.
Yes.
I think the middle class has sufficient pushback to be able to get the government to roll back the issue on the wealth tax, and particularly relating to real estate. I don't think budgets make that much of a difference because so much of policy happens outside of the budget.
Correct.
The taxation levels, laws, bills are passed, and I don't think it's as important as it should be or was in the past. But I suspect that I will have to say this, that I don't think that the problems that the middle class has with the taxation on property will be with us this time next year.
Fair enough. And also, like as I kept saying, please do check out my budget stream. It is a non-analysis stream. The reason why I call it is because I still maintain the fact that budgets are extremely stupid. That the fact that 6 months later they will completely revise all the figures of expenditure. They will have like allocations being thrown around either udhar all the time in the winter session,
I,
revised budget.
very true.
या एंड सो बेसिकली अभी एक प्लान बता रहे हैं कि हम ऐसा ऐसा खर्च करने वाले हैं, उसमें से 20% इज जस्ट इंटरेस्ट, वो तो खा गए, राइट, एंड देन द रेस्ट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट 20%, 60% बजट इज लेफ्ट, उसमें भी उथल पुथल करके विंटर में दे विल बी लाइक स्क्रू यू, व्हाट रिमेन स्टेबल इज तुमसे कितना पैसा लेना है, दैट विल रिमेन, that will remain stable for like years.
The easiest thing, Meghna, the easiest thing for me to do as a person to make a payment online is to give income tax to the government. It's the smoothest possible thing to do. It's so beautiful. Yeah. And to try and get the money back or whatever else, that's the hardest thing.
It's painful. I agree. Like I am not getting a refund this time because YouTube. Thank you very much. But yeah, Aakar, last question, and then I'll let you go. Which is, I think, some question. Simar has asked this question. Which is your favorite book? So I'll also ask for recommendations. What are you reading? What is your favorite book, etc.
So the writer who changed my life the most was this man called Khalid Ahmed from Lahore, who I know and who's a friend of mine. And it's not easy to get his works online, but if you can get his works online, you should read him. It's a Khalid with an E,
Okay.
and an Ahmed with an E.
Okay.
The book that shifted my world view the most was Annihilation of Caste by Ambedkar.
But Khalid Ahmed, is there a particular book that you wanted to mention?
There are several books, but these are mostly books that are compiled from his columns. So I think that there's no one particular work that comes to mind. But if you can get his work from the Daily Times or the Friday Times, you should see it.
Okay.
He's this guy who used to be a diplomat who had Russian and was a diplomat in the Soviet Union. And then in the Zia period didn't have work and then became a journalist. And because he had Pashto and because he had Urdu as well, was able to edit this kind of Urdu newspaper. And his proprietor got jailed because he had 2 bags of cocaine in the back of his car. But he's probably the wisest, smartest Desi I know.
Okay.
And I think that if you can engage his work, he used to write for the Indian Express not too long ago.
I just opened that.
You can see his work. He's very good.
Yeah.
The Annihilation of Caste by Ambedkar will rethink the way that you see your faith if you're a Hindu. In terms of writing and the human experience, I think Dostoevsky, to my mind, is the person that I've been recently going back to most often. I would name 2 books. One is Crime and Punishment, which I would recommend that people read from front to back. And the other is The Brothers Karamazov, which is also something that I would urge people to read.
I tried to read Crime and Punishment. It's very heavy, I would say.
Okay. So the last book that I would recommend is the Gandhi biography, the Gandhi memo. I think the autobiography, Mahatma Katha. I don't know what it's called in English. It's very cleanly, nicely written, and very sort of easy to read and very easy to access. Yeah.
Nice. And anything that you want people to watch?
I watched this man called Agad Mator, Agadmator, on YouTube, who does chess videos, which I like. And I think I like him both for his language and the way that he presents chess.
I see you like posting pictures of you watching chess, so I was wondering what you're watching. I was like, does Aakar Patel watch Samay Raina by any chance? So I was like,
I don't know who that is, sorry.
That's a good answer. Thank you so much for saying that.
Who he?
I won't tell
she?
You. I won't tell you now. You don't need to know. It's great.
But I would definitely ask people, because it's a very short piece, to look at Annihilation of Caste coming from Surat.
Yeah.
It definitely changed the way that I viewed the Hindu landscape. I think it's a great book
Oh, absolutely.
and
Same.
short book. Yeah,
Same. I would also say the same.
yeah,
Okay, Akar, I will let you go. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a while. I hope I can have you again. And
absolutely. Thank you, Meghnad.
yes, and
Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for all of you who support him and who are watching. And I think that this is an important fight that we can only win by physically engaging with it in the way that we should and the
yes,
way that you are doing.
yes. Thank you so much, Akar. That means a lot, and I know we have support. Yes. Bye bye. Okay, just a second, friendos. Okay. Hello, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I hope you enjoyed that stream. If you enjoyed that stream, please say hi. Please say hi. And also, please do follow Akar and please go tell him that you enjoyed his stream. So, yeah. Just a second. Yes. Yeah, I was waiting for him to come on this stream for so long. I'm so happy today. I had so many questions and it was very good for me as well. Annihilation of Caste is extremely readable. Oh, yeah. Guys, I would add one more book to it, which is Riddles in Hinduism. Go read, go enjoy. Ambedkar is a very smart man, but he's also a crazy writer. He was crazy. He was in a good way. He was crazy in a good way. Super inspirational. Huh? Please go watch. Please go read. I'm sorry. Um, Samay is playing chess with Russians. Yeah, well. I love the bass and confidence in his voice. I don't like Aakar saying Rajya Sabha MPs as unelected and don't have any control. He's just basing his analysis on Sitaraman and Jaishankar. Again, like, I mean, guys, please understand that what he was saying is kind of true, which is maintaining continuity in Modi, quote unquote, 3.0 is what Modi wanted, as if nothing changed. And Nirmala Sitharaman and Jaishankar and Ashwini Vaishnav are all said and done incompetent people. Why do you keep them? Why do you not want to like be like, huh, I guess you guys are right. We have done some mistakes, so I will give you an entirely new cabinet now. And we will come up with fresh ideas and we will win back your trust. Nope. Because Modi doesn't believe that he has lost any trust. No. First thing is, he needs to understand and he needs to sort of realize that he has made a mistake, that he's not that popular, that people don't like things he did in the past few years, and he should accept that. And then he's like, okay, fine, I'll fix it. Then people will be like, हाँ चलो ठीक है कुछ तो हो गया. But honestly, what is happening is the opposite, which is like, he's like, I don't care, this is Modi 3.0, everything is normal. But it's not, it's just not. Okay, so yeah. मेंबरशिप के क्या बेनिफिट है ऑन दिस चैनल सिमर? सो एक तो यू गेट टू जॉइन माई डिस्कॉर्ड सर्वर. My Discord server is where we hang out, chill. There is a very nerdy community there. A lot of work happens. All this mobilization we did on MPGA and on other things like the broadcast bill and other things that we intend to do as citizens, that happens through Discord. So that is one. And second is I sometimes edit my videos there. Yeah, we chill. Basically, it's like a common workspace. People are chilling, listening to music, doing their work. And if you're someone who likes that sort of a thing, please come. I also like chill sometimes there, without talking, just editing, doing our work. So it's fun. Basically, super transparent है मैं बहुत transparent है. Like पूछो members से. Members, you know, right? Like I tell you everything, right? What is happening, everything. Nothing is secret. But वो सब Discord पे होता है. Get some right wingers here for more eyeballs. Why? Also, why do I need more eyeballs? आई एम हैप्पी विथ यू गाइस. थोड़ा थोड़ा बढ़ रहा है गाइस. ऐसे नहीं कि कोई देख नहीं रहा है हमको अभी. धीरे धीरे बढ़ेगा. इट्स ओके. वी हैव नो हरी, राइट. काफ़ी लंबी लंबी जर्नी शुरू की है हमने, है ना आलू. आलू भी आ गया देख. आलू भी आ गया. आलू 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 से हाई टू चैट. वेट वेट वेट. ओ वेर इज आलू कैम. बट आलू कैम चल नहीं रहा है आज. सॉरी गाइस, समथिंग इज ऑफ विथ आलू कैम. आलू कैम. Oh no! Sorry guys, Alu Cam has malfunctioned. Sid, I'll have to fix it. I'll have to fix it. She left also. Okay. This stream reduced my anxiety. Thank you. Medusa Fund. Yes, thank you so much, Apurva. And that is the idea. Guys, if you are new here, please say hi. I will introduce myself now after all this while. Because I was talking to Aakar, I was not able to do my usual introductions. So I will do that now. Abhinav, thank you for the support. Thank you. Now that I'm something, had a question for Aakar, missed it. Oh, ask. Maybe or you can text him. You can tweet to him, maybe. Heart of Fits, Krishna, hello. Anurag, hello. Pranav, hello. Hi, who are you? Lots of new people. Hello, my name is Meghnad. Real name is Meghnad. And we basically do streaming and long form essay videos and just general random things. But my idea here is that I don't want politics to be toxic for you. I want it to be a nice little thing that you engage with and have fun. And as Apurva here very kindly said, this is actually the point of this stream, which is to reduce your anxiety. पूरी दुनिया तुम्हारा एंग्जाइटी रेज करने का कोशिश कर रहा है. पूरा इंटरनेट, पूरा टीवी न्यूज़ इकोसिस्टम. मैं एक अकेला आदमी है इधर हु इज़ लाइक चिल माड़ी. चिल करो, हम पॉलिटिक्स में मजे लेंगे और चिल करेंगे. ओके, जस्ट ट्रीटेड लाइक एंटरटेनमेंट, treated like characters in this grand universe, like a reality show, like a Big Boss house. So much more interesting than the Big Boss house. And we are going to nerd out together. That is the point of this channel. So welcome, and thank you for being here. You were going to give discount coupon code for Shasan today and show the gameplay. Yes. I'm not sure. Before the stream, I still hadn't gotten the code. No code yet, so no code today. Okay, the code is yet to come, is what Shweta tells me. So I did play Shasan. I do have the footage, so I can't show it to you until I have the code. So once the Shasan team gives me the code, I will give you the code. But trust me, lots of fun gameplay things were done. Can I show you a glimpse of it? मैं अच्छे से edit करेगा इसको, but glimpse देखना है क्या chat? Do you want to see a glimpse? Say hi. If you want to see a glimpse. Let's see. Oh, no. अभी नहीं दिखा सकता. I'll have to transfer it. Anyway. Later. My bad. Later. But trust me, it is worth it. It is worth it. अभी वो ट्रांसफर करना पड़ेगा. मैंने वो ट्रांसफर करना ही भूल गया फ्रेंड्स में. So sorry. After I transfer it, I have to edit it a little bit because there are some friends who played with us who might not have given consent. I just need to check with them once. I just realized that. Yes, who played with me? Dr. Medusa. Dr. Medusa played Shasan with me and it was such a fun game. But yeah, I will share the footage once it's edited. And then also share the coupon code. So don't worry. Yeah. I will. Absolutely, I will show you. I have taken much footage. What is Shasan? Shasan is a board game, friend. Shasan is a very fun board game which you should check out. What is this behavior? I know. I'm sorry. I thought I had already transferred it and I was checking my hard disk and then I realized, freak, I didn't. I am really sorry, chat. मैं ऐसे ऐसे deliberately नहीं करता usually, okay? Screw up होता है तब भी होता है ऐसे. What do you think about reservation in private sector bill and also judgment of SC about categorization of SC ST? I haven't read the judgment, but I don't think there should be reservation in the private sector. Just my thing. I don't think so. I genuinely think there needs to be a caste census before any other reservation policy is made or any other group of people are included in the reserved category. That's my stand now. Do the caste census first, figure out whether the current reservation policy has been effective, whether it has actually uplifted people who are supposed to be uplifted, whether it has reached in the right places, whether it has achieved what it was supposed to do, which is social justice, not a job scheme. It is not about jobs. It is not about that. Economically weaker sections is a scam. Don't fall for that shit. It is about social justice. The caste census will resolve, will kind of tell us whether it was effective at all, and then we can figure out कैसे reforms करने हैं reservations में. अभी तक तो वो हुआ नहीं है. So, yeah. How do we quantify social justice? Social justice can be quantified in a way that has... Okay, so the meaning of social justice in a very simple way is that every person in this country has equal access to law, justice, laws are equally accepted to them. But more than that, everybody has dignity. Everybody is treated well by their fellow citizens and the state also treats them with dignity. Yeah. Once a person is treated with dignity, it has an effect on their economic situation. Yeah. The caste system was designed in a way which will take away people's dignity. It will take away their rights. It will take away their self-confidence. And therefore, they will be in a strata of society which will always be lower than the upper caste people. Right? So there was no social justice in this system. When social justice actually happened, there will be a few things that will happen, that will follow. One is political justice and the second is economic justice. All of that is interconnected. So we will see that there would be economic justice and political justice happening only if there is social justice. And the way to find that out is if we have numbers, if the reservation policy has been able to give any sort of justice at all. I don't think it has. And I think Rahul Gandhi is right when he says he doesn't think that either. So why not make the data public? Why would one measure dignity for a census to check we can change the proportions? I don't know. Economic justice is paramount. I would say social justice, political justice, economic justice are all connected. Social justice, according to me, is paramount because it is about basic human dignity. If a person is not being treated like a human being in a society, पैसा लेके क्या करोगे बे तुम? हैं? क्या करोगे? पैसे से क्या dignity मिलेगा तेरे को? नहीं मिलेगा. Social justice first, then political justice, then follows economic justice. Tried Dostoevsky, man, it will change your life. I tried reading Crime and Punishment, as I said, but I will give it another shot. Definitely. All can go hand in hand? Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it can. Do you think Madam Sitaraman is even a bit eligible for the position she is holding? I don't think so. Vixen, now I'm convinced she isn't. Given the arrogance that she displays, I don't think she is even more, how do I put it? given that she's so arrogant about the whole thing now, there is no sign of humbleness whenever someone criticizes her. It makes me very angry and makes me think that she's hiding her incompetence with arrogance, because that's why people have arrogance, because they're basically incompetent. Like, you can see this, like people become arrogant because they know they are incompetent in a lot of ways, and they use arrogance as a shield to hide that incompetence. Why is she arrogant? I don't know. Maybe because she doesn't need to prove anything anymore. Maybe that's like really happy. Like there are no consequences to anything she does, because that's how Modi ji works now. So she has a right to be arrogant, I guess. It's like, मैं तो मोदी जी की favorite हूँ, so what will happen to me? Even if I entirely screw up the budget of a country and like draw the ire of Modi ji's biggest fans online or otherwise, even then he's not removing me. Why shouldn't she be arrogant then? स्मृति ईरानी को देखो, उसका arrogance कम हो गया. Yes. I think knowledge gap is worse than wealth gap. Okay. Economics power of super chat get more justice. Okay. Global stock crashed today. All major companies -10. Why do you know? No, I saw the market crashed. I just don't know why. Also, I mean, the market is just a market. I don't understand it. It's just hive mind, I guess. Chat, do you think the market makes sense to you? If it does not make sense to you, please say hi. If you believe that the market is just a made up thing which just goes up and down based on feelings of how rich people are feeling at any given point of time, please say yes. Money is made up. Yes, correct. Absolutely. Yeah. Market is not real. Yep. Yes, Sriram. It's a dip. It will bounce back. यार मुझे ये सब समझ में नहीं आता, guys. It just feels. Yeah, absolutely. It just feels. Yeah. I'm a full-time trader and it follows patterns. Rakshit, I'm not denying that at all. Buy the dip. No. The thing is, I tried trading in markets once, long time ago. Oh my god, it's so stressful and weird. I did like that whole technical analysis thing. ऐसे trend line draw करते हैं, फिर ऐसे 3 peaks आएंगे, फिर उसके बाद you will see if it goes above this or below that, then it shows the direction of the market. Then you're like, फिर से invest. Made some money on it, but then I was like, never again. So then, like my go-to thing is mutual funds. I'm like, someone else is doing it for me. It's great. But my best thing to do, and chat, please don't make fun of me when I say this. Please promise you don't make fun of me when I say this. I trust fixed deposits. I know it's stupid, but yes. If this government wouldn't have put in like freaking tax on crypto and killed an entire industry, a lot of my money would be in crypto, honestly. Like, I mean, not a lot of it, but some of it would be in crypto. FD is lazy. Ankur Wariko hates Meg Nerd now. I know. I've heard people make fun of my thinking on this. I know. Basic saving, exactly. Just basic hai, matlab. It's stress free. I like being stress free. Not like I don't have money in mutual funds and stuff. Okay, I do. Some of it I do. But my most comfortable thing is FD में डाल के रख देते भैया, कभी तो काम आएगा. Like डाल के रख देते, बस पड़ा हुआ है कहीं पे. Yes, it's soothing. Thank you, Alex. It is soothing. कोई stress नहीं रहता है फिर. Just asking, how is the movement against broadcasting bill going on? Hey, yes, chat, you want an update on broadcasting bill movement? I will give it to you, and then I shall end. Um, yes. So, situation is that we have been doing the rounds. Medusa came down to Delhi last week, matlab on Saturday, and we went straight to the AICC office. We had a meeting, and with Praveen Chakraborty, who is the president of All India Professional Congress. Right? We met him. We gave him the brief. We explained the broadcasting bill to him, what is happening, all the things. We have made a brief. So वो बोल दिया, briefed him, and then he has promised us that he will escalate this, and there is a chance that Mr. Chidambaram's office might reach out soon to us. So we are going to meet him as well. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And again, I'm being very transparent because there's nothing to hide here. I'll just tell you where all we went and what all happened. Next, we went to Sanjay Singh's house. Sanjay Singh was very nice. He basically said he will help us raise this in parliament, so which is great. And he said that he's going to also circulate it within his own party. We met Priyanka Chaturvedi after that, who also said that she will help us out. She's going to talk to a few other friends, MP friends that she has, brief them on it, tell them to follow it up. And she's also going to help us get in touch with some DMK people and some other people who she has said. So let's hope that also works out. Other than that, Derek has promised a meeting, so that might happen next week. We have Gaurav Gogoi, who might meet us next week. Who else is there? And yes, Rahul Gandhi. So Rahul Gandhi might meet us next week also. So yeah, तो अभी काम यही है. दूसरा thing that I did 3 calls with content creators, mostly comedians. About 70 comedians showed up, and I briefed them on the broadcast bill as well. So there were like private calls which I did with comedians so that I can brief them in 20 minutes about what the bill is, how it will affect them, and 40 minutes of Q&A. So about 70 comedians had shown up overall. So wo bhi ho gaya. Yes. So now there are a few comedians who are also like, I don't know if they're talking about it. Honestly, I have no expectations, guys. Can I be very honest with you? Look, the thing with these things is movement type things and activism in general is that I have learned to do it with zero expectations. Honestly, like एक तो क्रेडिट तो मिलने वाला है नहीं, मेरे को भी पता है, तुमको भी पता है, राइट? हमको बस करते रहना है, hoping that something sticks, I guess. Objective right now is to educate people, right? Like tell them about the bill, scream and shout and tell them and say that, hey, this is going to affect your life. Maybe nobody else will tell you, so I am, right? But then it's not like, oh, I will tell you this and then therefore you make a video out of this, or you start talking about this, or you go and make a story for me about this. It's not about that ever, honestly. I have zero expectations from anyone. I mean, I will ask you guys to also do certain things, but honestly, if you don't do it, what can I do about it, right? I have decided not to get frustrated about these things. So I will just tell you कि हाँ तो ये चल रहा है, हम ये कर रहे हैं. What am I doing? I will tell you. Other than that, it's up to people, honestly. I mean, I can't really force anyone to do anything. So right now, my objective is to talk to as many content creators and stakeholders as possible and tell them about the bill, brief them. The other thing I'm hearing is that there is some rumblings from within the centers of power that they are trying to find out who are these troublemakers who are, like, I don't know, doing activism. सो देखते हैं क्या बैकलैश आता है. अभी देखते हैं, थोड़ा सा पता नहीं क्या होगा अभी, बट ठीक है, वो तो एक्सपेक्टेड है. The other thing is Priyanka Gandhi has tweeted about it, which is a very good sign. And one more comedian who bumped into Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge randomly in a plane. He has said that Mr. Khadge might give us a meeting also. So lots of promising things. So that's why I'm saying, that's why Medusa is also flying down again sometime midweek, because there will be a bunch of meetings that will be scheduled in the next few days. So let's hope that works out. We're trying our best, guys. We're trying our best. If we educate enough people, enough MPs, enough people in power, I genuinely believe this bill is going nowhere. Parliament तक तो जाने ही नहीं देना है मुझे. Jail vlogs, bail fund, सब करेंगे. Ask Ranveer for speaking about this bill. I don't think he will. Zero expectations. Ranveer अलावा दे तो छोड़ ही दो. उसका तो मतलब I don't think his brain goes beyond content. So like उसका मतलब content affect होगा, उसको realize होने में इतना time लगेगा ना. छोड़ दो. I think it's beyond his capacity a little bit. You contacted Samay Raina as well. I sent out like a blast to every and all comedians. I'm sure he must have gotten it also. I don't know. I mean, there were so many people there. I don't know if he was there also. I don't know. But I don't think Samay Raina is going to speak about this. I don't think Tanmay Bhatt is going to speak about this also. Unke curly tails or anybody else you're thinking of, they're not going to speak about this. They have very lucrative brand deals to save. Industry, industry calls them to big events. If they start talking about such things, then sab chala jata hai, friends, aajkal. And that is why I ask support for plane tickets also. हमारे पास ब्रांड डील्स नहीं आते फ्रेंड्स, इसीलिए हम ये सब चोमुगिरी कर सकते हैं. इमेजिन इफ आई हैड लाइक मैसिव ब्रांड डील्स, ये कुछ नहीं होता. None of this would be happening. None of this. The one who Meghnad was talking about before was Medusa. Who was I talking about? Curly Tails is the most wannabe high society show. Curly Tails is an influencer. She also has like brands and stuff to care about. But in society, aren't the big leaders should fight for the society, Pratham? I mean, they should. Pratham, that's how it should work. But big leaders, they're not, I don't think they have, they don't think of themselves as their leaders also, I'm guessing. I don't know. Again, I can't speak for them, right? But my assumption is that they're very afraid to lose the current sort of lifestyle that they have or face any sort of backlash from the government. This government is very evil when it comes to backlash, so I don't fault them for it. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. That's the only explanation I can think of. Elvish bhai ko bheja kya? Not yet. Tanmay was one of the guys who talked about save the internet, but it affected his work. I do not think he will get it now. Yeah. I think he's beyond all of that now. I think he's making like a good amount of money and everything, so it's sorted. It is so surprising that celebs in the US are so open about their political party they support. Yes, SY, because in the US, they don't face backlash like our creators and artists do. Their system is a little bit more evolved, unfortunately. Fortunately for them, unfortunately for us. So, yeah. They have a much more room to maneuver than our influencers and celebrities. Anurag Kashyap. I don't know, he's been like very harassed, recently. Deshbhakt has already done a video. I believe Ravish might put one out soon. I don't know. I have sent him stuff, etc. And he said, dekhte hai. So let's see if Ravish sir does it also. Deshbhakt has put out a video. I believe Dhruv might be putting out a video. I don't know. Have sent everything to all of them and briefed them personally also. Arpit is helping a lot with this as well. So Arpit has done our reading and he's making videos. So please do check his videos out. He does excellent short form content. So he's going to break down the bill over a period of days and release it in short form content. Please check out Arpit's videos also. Sohit is doing one. Yes, Sohit is on it also. Barkhadat did a live today. Oh yeah, with Nikhil. I saw that. Has Shekhar Gupta done a video? I have no idea. Have you seen content of Sham Meera Singh? Oh yeah, Sham Meera Singh. Sham also I have briefed. Sham might also do something, I think. Red Mike also did a video. Yeah. So there are people who are talking now. Dire dire. Dire dire people are talking. So let's see. Let's see. Acha. Guys, I feel like I'm going to end this stream now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry I couldn't give you the Shasan code today. I genuinely didn't get it from them. Again, asking you to please like this stream and contribute to the Medusa fund. Really hope that we can fly her down properly. And let's go meet Rahul Gandhi, I guess. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And tab tak, keep emailing your MPs, keep emailing people, telling them about the broadcasting bill. क्या हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. मेरा वीडियो भी भेज देना. If you feel like you like the video, etc., please do consider sharing it. Again, zero expectations. Do what you want. Do what you want, friends. Do what you want. Shashank, thank you so much for the support, friend. Very nice, very nice. Thank you so much. This will also go to Medusa Fund. Link नीचे है buymeacoffee.com/megnerd. Okay? Would really appreciate it. Okay. क्या मैंने सुपर चैट मिस कर दिए? और oh wait, there is sorry. Abhinav, Simar, thank you. Axula, thank you so much. This is your political support group. I'm glad. I'm happy to be your supporter in this support group. Adrian, is there a way to account income expenditure India's economy somehow? Maybe manually nerding out. We need to find out where our monies have gone. Adrian, go to the India budget website. Check the outcome budget. There is a document called the outcome budget. Just check that. You will know what I mean. Once you read it, it will blow your mind. Suresh, thank you for the support. And Mrinal, thank you for the 1 month. By GSB, better than FD and less risky than MFs. GSBs, ये क्या होता है? Government secured bonds? Is that what it is? I don't know. Who is Arpit? Arpit is Arpit Sharma from Instagram. And he was there on DKD as well. Okay. Good night, friends. Good night. Thank you so much. And I will see you next. Next Friday stream nahi hoga because I'm traveling. But uske pehle I might do a DKD recording maybe. But I will do a stream again this week sometime to give you an update on the broadcasting bill at least. Let's see. But yeah, I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much and thank you for your support. I will keep you updated on what is happening with MPs and all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye. Good night. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.